Friends, I am going to give you a lecture on changing preferences of business leaders from the book Creation of Wealth versus Transfer of Wealth by Mr. Tulsi Tawari, the great economist and engineer. Fortune magazine carried a piece from journal Mark Gunther in 2006. Business is business. That is an expression we have heard countless times. As I have watched Fortune 500 companies change dramatically as a group, they are becoming more green, more diverse, more transparent, and more willing to define their responsibilities broadly. I have always assumed that these companies are evolving purely for business reasons. But business is personal too. Business got personal at Fortune's recent brainstorm conference when top executives talked about their latest best ideas. Entrepreneur Bill Gross described energy innovations, his solar power business. Venture capitalist Vinod Khosla touted his investments in biofuels. Sun Microsystems' John Cage described his company's role in bringing mobile phone services to the African nation of Rwanda. Each of these men care passionately about the causes their companies are engaged in. In book True to Yourself, Mark Albion, a Harvard professor and consultant to Fortune 500 companies, argues that the personal side of business must come first. Only then will profit follow. Albion cites dozens of examples of value-based business. Most smaller firms like Seventh Generation, which produces environmentally safe household products, Bright Horizons, which provides on-site daycare and honesty, which makes organic bottled drinks. They began with a founder's desire to make a difference. Business success come later. Public companies are different, of course. They have to answer to a broad array of shareholders. Occasionally, even the CEO of global giants get personal. Recently, I talked to Walmart Charts CEO Lee Scott about sustainability. He cited a slew of very solid business reasons to explain why Walmart wants to lead the way in solving environmental problems. Then he added, I worry because I do have a 3-year old granddaughter. What will this world be like for her? Mark Albion argues persuasively that there is no need to draw a line between what is personal and what is business, or to separate who you are from what you do. If you leave what is most special about you at home, how can you make a unique contribution to the world? He asks. And who wants to live that way anyway? In immediate future, say 2015 to 2040, we can only hope to initiate the path correction. However, within a generation, say 2040 onward, the future economy can totally be transformed. The materialless economy could set the world on path of ever ascending prosperity, with education, exploration, and research as the key drivers of global economy. With focus on the sustainability and strategies for balanced growth, we need to begin educating the next generation right now to become wise consumers of the future. All this is possible with conviction of creative leaderships of our times. In our time, bad news spreads instantly the world over. The advantage is that most people have heard of global warming. They know what they know that it is bad for our future and it is caused by burning too much coal and oil. They also know that the energy and water crisis not exist not just in remote villages but also in great metropolises. They know that the junk food we eat is bad for our health. The excessive use of chemical fertilizers kills our soil, and the world may face food shortages if not addressed soon. A concern for future generations can make us all think and act more responsibly than we have done ever before. We now know that the whole world is affected by this crisis and we need to find ways out of this mess together. The reasons for our environmental problems and the depletion of natural resources have been so well documented during the past few decades that they have become common public knowledge. Even technical terms such as carbon trade or carbon footprint and organic farming are now familiar among lay people. While these issues pose grave challenges, they also define a clear path of action, thus providing us with definite wealth creation approaches for the future. None of these initiatives, however, could ever succeed as acts of charity or government sponsored project. The option before us is that we develop value creating revenue models around them. We need to factor the costs of long term damages in our day to day purchase decisions. Thus, cost of environmental conservation could reflect in cost of production, like other costs before estimating profitability. True, this is a tall order and would never happen without first achieving institutional integrity and dramatic rise in genuine business leaderships. Of course,